Hello and welcome to episode 187 of ATL Prime Sports. I'm JJ Jurjevich. Joining me this evening is our fabulous producer, Wayne Ridenauer in wonderful Memphis, Tennessee. You can catch us all at ATL Prime Sports on Facebook, Instagram, X, and of course, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. You can catch us all on personal X's at JJ Get You One for myself, at RWY Junior for yourself, Wayne, and at Corder Todd, who is out umpiring some baseball games this evening, and at LG for real, though, who is dealing with a family issue, and our thoughts and prayers are going out to Larry as we speak. Wayne, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, but not quite as well as Christopher Bell, who won the Hot Atlanta race down there. And once again, we have two races in a row decided by last-minute crashes and yellow flags. But Christopher Bell, driver of the Joe Gibbs Toyota, so that's a nice little football connection there.
Yeah, Joe.
How's that? How did everything going over there in Atlanta with you, man?
Man, doing well. Joe Gibbs, that Super Bowl and NASCAR connection there, pretty cool guy. In the sports world. Yeah, I'm doing great, Wayne. Thanks for asking. Not as well as the salary cap in the NFL, though. A new record high, $279.2 million per team. That's an increase of $23.8 million. The teams in the NFL must be under that cap by 4 p.m. Eastern time on March 12th. What's on tap for today's show? Possible new overtime rules for the NFL regular season only. The latest on Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons, roll my eyes. 31 automatic qualifying bids up for grabs. It's 31 conferences, if you didn't know. We give you a handful of teams that will win their conference tournaments, of course, in our opinion. Let's kick this thing off, pun intended, in the NFL, which is considering changing the overtime rules of the regular season. Wayne, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Well, first of all, does this raise or lower that salary cap?
Man, it just keeps going up. They project it to be over $300 million next year.
I can tell you who's the most excited about that are every sports agent out there who has anything to do with NFL players is probably very excited right now.
Yeah, and I tell you who's really excited is Brock Purdy. He's due for a payday out there in San Francisco, doing negotiations with general manager John Lynch. So unprecedented numbers in the NFL now, Wayne. But yes, the NFL is considering changing the overtime rules of the regular season. Your thoughts on that, Wayne, and the other changes that came about in the NFL as well. You know, they implemented the, first down system, the virtual measuring system. Where was that in the AFC Championship game?
Well, I guess it's going to be set up like tennis is or something. They're going to have lasers all over the field or something, you know, or measuring the spot of the ball or something. I don't know. How does that work?
That's a good question. I didn't quite get the technology behind it and how it worked, but it basically immediately notifies the officials who are officiating the ball game whether the first down was converted or not. They still are going to manually spot the ball. They'll still have the chain gang there, as I like to call it, with officials operating the first down markers. But what's crazy to me is Kimberly Fields, senior vice president of football operations in the NFL, said this was being used in the background last season. And that's why I rolled my eyes. Where was this in the AFC title game? So if they were using this in the background, why couldn't they have gone just in replay review and said, hey, we're using this technology. Did it by chance work and capture the first down or not first down by Josh Allen on that fourth down play? And that would have been a hell of a lot easier than what the heck actually happened with two referees coming in at each opposite side. So I like that rule change, but I don't really like the rule change, the possibility of the rule change in regular season overtime. I'll be honest with you. I like the way it is. I feel like too many of these rule changes are happening, and I don't want to see this game change for the worse like the NBA with its rule changes. Plus, the game can no longer be won on a field goal by the first possession. You got to go down and score a touchdown to win it. So, if you kick a field goal, the defense, the team that did not receive, still has a chance to go win the game. So I don't want that rule to change. I personally think the regular season and the overtime should be the same. I think it should all be the same rules, regular season, overtime, whatever it is. I don't like the fact if you're receiving the kickoff and you go down and score a touchdown, you deserve to win the game. If your defense can't hold them to a field goal in the moment that matters the most, so be it. You deserve to lose the game. But look, this measuring system is huge. I do like that. I'm always for getting the call right on the field, and that's what I think this new stuff will do. But it's really interesting. I think you're going to have a couple double, triple overtime games where guys are getting hurt with this new overtime rule if they do end up changing it, Wayne. And I don't think that's good for the game. Longer games don't necessarily mean better games. Your thoughts again, Wayne, on the overtime rules of the regular season, and again, maybe one or two more comments on that automatic measuring, virtual measuring system. Sorry, I got to get it right here.
Yeah, well, the overtime rule and everything, as long as they keep it consistent all year long and in the playoffs, I'm all right with whatever they come up with. I just don't like it when they change the rule part of the way through the season or going from regular season to playoff. That to me seems a little bit awkward because they've been playing with the same rule the whole year. And as far as that spot thing going, you were saying they were using it in the background.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest background operation that I have going is when I have a little bit of a gastrointestinal fluctuation. And I need to present that in the background. And as soon as somebody smells it, they start going, hey, what in the heck, who did that? And the people in the background are like, so I can see there's people in the background looking at that spot going, well, that spot ain't right. But I don't.
That's hilarious. Well, anyway, I agree. I think keep the rules the same, regular season, postseason. Let's play ball.
Yeah.
And unless, of course, it's a tie game. You can't tie in the postseason. That's the only difference. You just start another overtime in the postseason. That'd be the only difference I would make. When more Falcons news, and it ain't good. The Kirk Cousins Falcons era has been filled with ups and downs. From a 6-3 start, beating the Super Bowl champs in Philadelphia, and now being the talk of the NFL. What are your thoughts on this situation in Atlanta? This stems from the recent news of Falcons upper management, general manager Terry Fano and Raheem Morris, unaware of the injury, they said. Coach Morris informed everybody at the NFL Combine press conference, said he had no clue.
Well, maybe he needs to get a sign for his desk that says the buck passes here.
Yeah. So something needs to give, huh, Wayne? I mean, when the guy threw 9 interceptions to 1 touchdown and lost you 4 straight games in a row after going 6-3, something would tell me that that guy, who has been a pretty consistent quarterback in the NFL for his whole career, something's off. The average throw downfield was like 6 to 8 yards or something like that. It was nuts. He clearly was hurt. I could see it from a mile away from my television set. How in the hell did Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot not know their quarterback, $90 million guaranteed and everything, wasn't hurt? I find that a little ridiculous, if you ask me. Cousins mentioned his injury on the NFL Network the week of the Super Bowl. He said it happened versus New Orleans, hurt his right shoulder and his elbow, and then the results, I just told you, 9 interceptions to 1 touchdown, 4-game losing streak, which turned into Michael Penix Jr. being the starting quarterback, and Atlanta now having the world's most expensive backup quarterback, in my opinion, probably ever. I mean, this is what happens, Wayne, to losing franchises. And we talk about it. I hate to knock on our guys because we're Falcons fans and you try and lift them up. But this is what losing franchises do. You put yourself in salary cap heck, and then you try and battle out of it. But look, the Falcons as a whole are 398 512-6. They don't have a winning record. And it's because of decisions like this. You tampered to go get the guy and lost a 5th-round pick. And then now it's going to be hard to cut this guy because if Atlanta does Atlanta does release him, as I wet my whistle there, if Atlanta releases him, they get hit with the $65 million in dead cap money. And then 2, you're basically paying him to be on another team and possibly beat you if you do release him, because that cap hit's going to be on your books and he could be in another uniform. It just doesn't make any sense. These are, again, moves that I repeat do not make sense. And that's why the Falcons have continued to put themselves in this hole of being under 500 for, 8 consecutive seasons, whatever it is. But again, releasing them post-June may save you a little bit of money because that $65 million will get spread out over 2 seasons. But he is due $10 million March 17th for a roster bonus. So if he's on this team March 17th, cha-ching, $10 million into his bank account. So what does that mean? It means Cousins will be on this team because there's not an inexpensive way to get him off this roster without costing you an arm and a leg, paying him for blah, 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 trading him, eating the contract. It's just too expensive. You might as well, since that money is already on the books, keep him as your backup for a worst-case scenario. Or, who knows, maybe Penix doesn't do as hot, and you have a great backup right there. So you have a good situation at quarterback. Maybe something good can come out of all this chaos. But this is nuts. Guy goes on national TV, says he was hurt, then says clerical error, this, that, walk through, blah, blah, blah. No, the performance told me everything. Duh, performance-based, but sure, I think injuries and being hurt caused the lack of performance on Kirk Cousins' part. Wayne, what say you about this whole Kirk Cousins saga, man?
Well, I have for the longest time now been saying that Kirk Cousins absolutely should have been the MVP, and not most valuable player, but most valuable player. He sure walked away with a bunch of dough, and he's sitting pretty right now. So I don't blame him for signing the contract, and it's up to the Atlanta Falcons to start looking at those things and realizing, hey, this is not such a good deal for us. Who is running the show up there? Maybe we need to get a Atlanta Office of Accountability or whatever it's called.
Yeah, maybe we need a Doge in Atlanta.
Yeah. Let's call it the Atlanta Department of Efficiency.
Yeah, I don't get it, Wayne. I really don't, Falcons fans. And your thoughts, come at us on Twitter at ATL Prime Sports, at JJ Get You One for myself, at RWY Junior for Wayne. Tell us your thoughts, because this is so confusing to me, Wayne. If the Falcons were to just have drafted Michael Penix and just stunk last year, I would have been better off as a fan with that, knowing you're building for the future versus bringing in this Kirk Cousins, who you think is going to be the stopgap for you, getting you to competitiveness in the NFC South and beyond. And then it's just been, I don't like it. So that's our NFL.
At least we're not in the same position as Jacksonville. I tell you that.
Yeah. They're paying Trevor Lawrence a ton of money for not a lot of success too. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on around the NFL right now. Possible overtime rule changes, the mention of the virtual measuring system, and of course this Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins story has just been one heck of a doozy. Moving from the NFL to college basketball, there are 31 AQ bids up for grabs in the upcoming conference tournaments. Give me 5 to 7 teams you think will win their conference tournament and get that AQ bid. Wayne, let's start off right here locally. Talk about the Sun Belt Conference, Georgia State, Troy, so on and so forth. Georgia Southern in that Sun Belt Conference as well. Who do you think gets that Sun Belt nod, man?
Well, I have only watched one team up close play, and that's Arkansas State, and they've been really, really good. And I've got a feeling that they are going to win that tournament for the Sun Belt and get that automatic bid, even over James Madison, who's leading that conference now, because I feel like Arkansas State has more of the tools to get the job done in that environment.
They do have a big win against your Memphis Tigers,
yeah.
too. So didn't want to bring that one up. But, yeah, James Madison, 13-4 as of tonight, first in that conference. As you mentioned, they are one game up on Arkansas State, South Alabama, and Troy, who are all 12-5 in Sun Belt play. Defense wins championships and tournaments, Wayne. That's why I'm going to go with Troy or South Alabama. They can defend with the best of them. Troy, 26th in the country?
Yeah.
South Alabama, 23rd in the country in total defense. So both top 30 in that category. I'd go with one of those two teams. As defense, you're able to stop. You make it hard to shoot. And
the steal, the take
percentage. I like the Jags. I like the Trojans in that conference.
The forced turnovers too are a big deal on defense.
Absolutely. So we're on the same page there. We don't think it's going to be who's currently on top of that conference, which is the James Madison Duke. So we think it's going to be one of those second place teams right there. We each think it's going to be one of those. Big East, I'll go with Rick Pitino, the number 7 St. John's Red Storm. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country, Wayne. Over 40 rebounds a game. That's good for top 15, 14th if you're counting in college basketball. They can protect the rim. They're able to block shots as well. One of the best shot blocking teams in the country. They average over 5 blocks per game. They're 8th in that category. And I think they're the best team in that conference by far. So I think that the Big East might be one of the easier conferences to pick. And we're not going to go down all 31 of these teams. We're just giving 4 or 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. We're just going to have a little fun with a couple of conferences and give you guys some AQ teams. If we did all 31, we'd be here for about 31 hours.
Yeah. All right.
Wayne, what you think in the Big East? You going with me as well, Rick Pitino and the Red Storm?
That is definitely the favored pick because of Rick Pitino. But if I'm going to pick an outside chance and one that I think has a chance, and I'm just going to say it, Creighton, I believe, has a chance to win that conference tournament. And it's probably going to end up being either Marquette or Creighton playing St. John's in the final.
Yeah, a bunch of Catholic schools in the Big East. It's I think they're all Catholic schools if I look at the standings again. But, good conference, still good basketball conference. Lots can happen. Lots can happen because everybody's close in that conference. Wayne, you look at the standings there, and everybody's real close.
Well, there are a lot of schools in that conference that are suffering this year too. So,
yeah, I mean, you look 2.5, 3.5 back. Like I said, Red Storm's probably going to win that conference, but Creighton, Marquette, as you mentioned, UConn's in that conference too. So you look at Coach Hurley, who thinks he's clearly one of the best coaches in the country, and he's absolutely hilarious in front of the cameras nowadays.
Yeah, I think his older brother
at any time they could win that conference as well.
Yeah, I think his older brother was a better coach, but that's just me.
I just love him in front of the camera. He's so funny. I absolutely love it when someone confronted him about the. Hey, did you say don't turn your back on me because I'm the best coach in college football? And he was like, did I say that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought that was so funny. Well, but yeah, that's a wide open conference. Lots of good teams in that one. Those are your 4 favorites, but I'm going with the Red Storm. I just think Rick Pitino's got these guys ready to play, and that's common denominator there. Georgia beat St. John's earlier in the regular season, one of their big wins on the season, and that's kind of levying really strong and really in Georgia's favor at the end of the season right here.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about let's go ahead and talk about the SEC then. Who you got for SEC?
Boy, the SEC is. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 currently ranked teams. That's a real toss-up. But look, Broom's pretty good.
if he's healthy.
Year caliber. They got a really veteran team. Bruce Pearl's 14-1 in the conference. They've won 5 straight. They're really good at home, 13-1. They play well on the road as well. They're 7-1 in that SEC conference, and they're 9-2 versus AP top 25 teams, which is insane. Yeah. that many teams are ranked in the SEC where you're playing in that way. Georgia's got 14 of those games. Almost, I'd say that goes up against the best of anybody in the country in terms of playing top-tier talent. Georgia, good defensively. They block well. They protect the rim as well. They're right outside the top 10 in blocks in the country. They pretty good defensively. Problem with Georgia in tournament play, they go long stretches where they don't score the basketball well. They had 3.5-minute stretches in that Florida game, nearly cost them, where they didn't score a field goal. I think Kentucky, they're a top scoring offense in the country, one of the top teams in the country in that category, and they can always get hot. Missouri, they're playing like one of the upper echelon teams. Tennessee could do it. Florida could do it. They could shoot their way there. Florida's a really good shooting team. Alabama's a top scoring team in the country. That's wide open. But if I have to choose one team, and we're in the business of making predictions, I think Bruce Pearl gets it done. I think he's got this team focused on a whole nother level. And again, the veteran presence of this team from Broome all the way down, I just think this team will get over the top in the SEC and win their conference tournament, get that overall number 1 seed, and get ready for that 16th seed, whoever it may be. So I'll go with your Auburn Tigers to win the SEC.
Yeah, well, I would say Auburn has the greatest chance of winning that tournament. And the only 2 other teams that I think could pull a semi-Cinderella would be Florida and Tennessee. I don't think Alabama has that cardiac type of moment where they just explode at the end of the game and can win a game if it's close at the end. So I'd say Florida, Tennessee has a chance, but Auburn's definitely the favorite.
Yeah, Auburn's definitely the favorite. I like your Tennessee pick. They're a top 4 team in defensively in the country, giving up only about 60.8 points a game. Auburn, top 5 in the country in offense. As I mentioned, Kentucky and Alabama's number 1 team in the country in scoring offense, over 91 points a game. They're averaging. They're tearing the cover off the ball. And Alabama could win this tournament too, Wayne, simply out of the fact that they can rebound the basketball better than anybody in the country as well. And Florida's right there as well. So I think if you're looking for a conference tournament that's extremely wide open is what we're saying, just tune in the SEC tournament.
Right. That's going to be the major one to watch. Well, who do you want to tackle next?
We went Big East. We're both wearing Memphis hats. Let's have a little fun. Are we both picked? Yeah, I think we are. That's why I wore the hat.
I appreciate it.
Penny Hardaway got this team playing pretty good. They don't really have a bad loss, Wayne. They got a couple that are like outliers.
I would say Arkansas State is somewhat of a bad loss, but they're a really good team, so maybe not.
I don't look at I look at overall wins and losses. And then if you're like a team like Georgia, you're 17-11 or 17-10, whatever that record is. The teams you've played kind of bolsters your record a little bit. But if you're 23 and whatever, like Arkansas State is, or 21 and whatever, you're a pretty good basketball team. And I think Memphis is pretty complete. I'll tell you why though. Look, we talked about 23-5, already 23 wins, top 50 scoring offense, 79.8 points a game, so they can score with the best of them. And they play really well down the stretch. They've won 10 of their last 11 games, as you know, Wayne. And that's what you want to see going into tournament play. So that's why I like the Memphis Tigers in the AAC.
Yeah. Well, the only wild card in our conference is the Tulane Green Wave, and that's mostly because of Ron Hunter. And that would be the only reason I would say they have a chance to pull a Cinderella story there.
Yeah, so the Mean Green, eh?
Yeah.
UAB's not so much of an afterthought. They're 11-3, just one game behind you in the loss column, and they've won three in a row as well. So they're playing pretty good ball going into the tournament. But yeah, I'm with you. I think we both think your Memphis Tigers will cut down the nets in the American Athletic Conference, get that AQ bid, help out their seeding overall a little bit, maybe 6-7 seed, I think is last I looked, from the bracketology experts for Memphis, maybe as high as an 8 seed, but they win some ball games down the stretch, they win that tournament, they'll probably put them pretty high.
Yeah. Well,
where do you want to go next, man?
Well, let's go ahead and go with some of these blue blood conferences. How about the Atlantic Coast?
Boy, you got to like Player of the Year candidate Flag and the Duke Blue Devils. John Schneider has them playing extremely well, undefeated at Cameron Indoor, only one loss on the road. They've won 5 in a row. And again, you look at that last 6, when you've won 4 or 5 in a row going into this stretch of the season, I'll say it all the time, that's a dangerous team. Louisville rebounded very well from the Patino and that transition. Clemson Tigers, they are 15-2 in conference. They could sneak around and do some things. 7-3, they play pretty good on the road. 14-2 at home, and Clemson has won 5 in a row. So again, they're playing some of their best ball down the stretch. I think those are your 3 favorites. Outside of that, I don't see anybody, unless they just Wake Forest starts making every shot. I think Wake Forest could be one of those teams that maybe, makes a run in the NCAA tournament.
I think you may have been reading my mind on that, because Wake Forest is my dark horse in that conference too. But Duke is definitely the overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, the best players usually win the biggest games, and Cooper Flag, Connor Flag, Cooper Flag. I always forget his name. I think I say it 6 ways from Sunday. But the Duke Blue Devils are my pick. They're one of the best teams in the country, and they beat Auburn. So I like Duke's chances going deep in the NCAA tournament, as well as the ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Let's go Big 12, huh?
All right.
That one's a toss-up as well. Iowa State.
Well, I don't know about that. We've had Houston in our conference for the longest time, and when you get into conference tournament or any tournament, you can forget about it. Houston is going to probably dominate the Big 12 conference. Yeah,
that's my pick. I was just going to have a little fun with it, but it's Houston. They're the best defensive team in the country, only giving up 57.8 points per game. They are locked down. They play physical style of ball. They really make every possession matter when you're playing against them. And again, defense in tournaments usually wins a lot of games, because if your offense doesn't show up, you can count on your defense to keep you in the game. And maybe your offense doesn't have to score as many points as the other guy usually. So, I'm going Houston. I think that's one of the easier conferences to pick. But do watch out, Iowa State. They're a team that could get hot, but Houston wins 7 in a row, undefeated on the road, which is pretty improbable. And let's face it, when you can win every single game you play in a tough conference like the Big 12, that sets you up for tournament play extremely well. Houston Cougars are my pick. Same with you. What else we got?
Big Ten. And as far as Big Ten goes, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I would have been a total Boilermaker fan, everything. But they have really slipped off the last couple of weeks here, and it's making me think that the one team that has the best chance to win this conference and probably do really well in the tournament comes down to 4 letters. IZZO. I guess it's 3 letters, but you repeat one of them twice, so we're going 4 letters.
Michigan State playing extremely well, 14-3 leaders in the Big Ten after an unbelievable half-court heave from I forget the player, slipping the player, but beat Maryland on the road. Absolutely amazing game down the stretch. Izzo, they know how to get it done. They've won 4 straight. You mentioned Purdue Boilermakers on the opposite end of that. They've lost 4. They're falling out of the sky. They're only 5-5 in away games. That's a little alarming for tournament play. Michigan State 7-2 in away games, 5-1 versus the AP top 25 teams. So they have the strength of schedule there. Michigan right behind them, clipping at their heels. They play one more time down the stretch. That'll be probably for the Big Ten regular season championship and that number 1 overall seed. Man, you say Izzo. Boy, I'll go with someone off the radar. Maybe Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is a team that can win this conference and get a higher seed in the tournament. They have that success. They've been to the Final Four recently. They kind of have a little aura about them. Wisconsin could be a team to come out of nowhere and win that Big Ten.
Yeah. Where's your
favorite pick is definitely Izzo, and I'm going with the Badgers though.
Okay. Well, now where are they playing that tournament at? I forgot.
I think do they do it in Indianapolis as well?
They probably do. Yeah, but in the whatever
I am
in
not
the bar
certain
in the field house looking place.
The SEC used to be in Atlanta all the time. Yeah. Now they do it all over the place. I think they do it in Nashville or.
Yeah, well, it's going to be. I think it's going to be in Nashville. It's going to be in Nashville this year, the SEC tournament.
It's back in Nashville.
As long as it isn't at Vanderbilt Stadium, I'm cool with that. Just don't have it there. If they have it there, that's going to throw everybody off.
So let's see. We have any other big I think we got all the Power 5 conferences. Yeah. ACC. We got Big 10, Big 12, SEC. Unfortunately, there's no more Pac-12. Let's go. We'll go with one fun one. I think I gotta go find the conference name. I forget about it, but the Bryant Bears or Bryant Bulldogs. What is it?
Butler? You're not thinking of Butler. Butler's in 12, I think.
No, I gotta think it's Bryant. Is it Bryant? Yeah, Bryant Bulldogs, America East Conference.
Okay.
Yeah. They're one of the. Believe it or not, the Bryant Bulldogs are one of the better teams in blocks per game in the country. They're third in the country in blocks per game, so they can protect the rim. They'll probably win their conference tournament. And again, you can protect the rim. You change a possession here or there. You have a big block, and you're in a game in one of these mid majors and the NCAA tournaments. You have a big block. It can project well, get a fast break, and it's a close game. Maybe it gets you the momentum, gets you that run. Basketball, we know tournaments are a game of runs. Can you stop it when you're winning? And can you keep it going when you're losing? And I like the Bryant Bulldogs out of the America East Conference. Watch out for them.
If Bryant does get in, though, they're probably going to be facing a number 1 or number 2 seed. And so they will have a huge chance of being the biggest Cinderella story on the first round if they can pull something like that off.
We've seen a couple 16s knock off some ones in recent years, and we've seen some 13s, 14s, 15s make some deep runs. So anything and everything can happen in this tournament. Well, folks, that wraps up our college basketball conversation. Wayne, any final thoughts on the NCAA tournament, conference tournaments that are popping around?
No, I'm ready to close out the regular season. We've got one more home game here in Memphis, and that is against South Florida Bulls.
Got to win that one.
Yeah, well, you got to win. You got to win the rest of them. You should have the mindset that you have to win all the games all the time.
From March on, I mean, starting Saturday, it's March Madness.
Yeah,
win and end basically mentality. Well, folks, again, if you like the content, please give us a like, give us a subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Give us a review. Hit that notification button so you get notified with our latest content. Let's get to our final thought, Wayne. I'll tee this one off. Pun intended yet again. Hats off to PGA golfer Gary Woodland. He received the PGA Tour Courage Award for his bravery while battling a brain tumor from 2023 to 2024. Played a little bit in 24 after surgery. Was a little rusty, but he's already got 3 top 25 finishes on the tour this year. Look out for Gary Woodland this season, folks. Motivated player, very great story. We'll provide the link in the YouTube video, but check it out. A very heartwarming story. Gary Woodland just goes to show you how close the golf community is, and my thoughts and prayers go out to the Woodland family. And it'd be hard pressed not to mention a double final thought, Wayne. I want to say rest in peace to Gene Hackman.
Oh, yeah.
Replacements actor, as this gets quoted all the time, and by Todd Corder. You know, he quotes the Replacements all the time, and of course, Gene Hackman and the Hoosiers. It's one of my favorite sports movies, and one of the scenes that stick with me to this day. So is when I forget the star player's name, but Gene Hackman keeps him on the bench, and there's only 4 players out on the floor. He's like, I got my team out there. Everybody's booing him, and the one guy becomes his assistant coach. And again, I'm terrible at characters and remembering their names, but that scene has stuck with me forever. Just shows a hard-nosed coach willing to go out of his way for his team and stick up for what he believes in. That was Gene Hackman and Hoosiers. Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. Died earlier this week at the age of 95 with his wife and, unfortunately, their dog.
Well,
Wayne, your final thought.
Well, my final thought was going to be about Memphis Tigers playing UAB, but you mentioned Gene Hackman, and he did a lot of sports movies, but probably the biggest line that I remember, because I've been confused about it for so long, was picking your feet in Poughkeepsie. And I'm still to this day, from French Connection, if you watch that movie, several times in that movie, they claim that, oh, you've been picking your feet in Poughkeepsie? And I'm like, what in the heck does that mean? I don't think it means anything. I think they threw it in there.
Absolutely. Rest in peace, Gene Hackman, one of the great actors of our generation, Oscar Award winner, gone too soon. He lived a great life. I say that, but 95 years old. What a great life. Guys, that wraps it up. For Wayne Ridenauer in wonderful Memphis, Tennessee, I'm JJ Jurjevich right here in Lilburn, Georgia. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned until next week. We'll see you. Get you one.